Hey guys, today's video I want to talk about discernment. So discernment is important, especially with spiritual teachings. Discernment is important because you don't know the intentions of the other person. You don't even know the intentions of me. How do you know that I'm not leading you astray? How do you know that Eckhart Tolle or Osho or Ram Dass or Ramana Maharshi or Muji or Alan Watts, how do you know they weren't leading you astray or are leading you astray? Just because a bunch of people follow them, look up to them, doesn't mean it can't be harmful for you. And I'm not saying that these teachers and myself are good or bad people. What I'm saying is sometimes and oftentimes you have to be careful about what information you use to incorporate in your life, because you may not be ready for it. It may turn your life into more chaos, or it may just be manipulative and anything in between to serve the teacher's own goals. But only you can decide that for yourself on much of that. It's really important to not put all your faith into one person or into a group of people. If a person is identified with a certain religion, what I'm saying can sound like blasphemy and devilness. But there's also many people in the world that consider themselves not to be religious. And in a way, they can fall into similar traps that people that are in religion can fall into, which is taking someone else's opinion, beliefs, and way to live your life over your own. There's a common phrase, and I use this phrase in the past, where I would say, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. What does that mean? Well, oftentimes when you hear that phrase, it means religion is just very childlike. There's not a lot of value in it, and I'm spiritual. So I go against the Bible, or I go against the holy books. I think that the people that believe those are delusional. But if you keep on going in your spiritual journey, you'll start to realize that there's truth and value in religion, just not in the dogmatic, ideological way that it's presented oftentimes. You'll look at different holy books and you'll see that you can interpret them differently. You can look at it as, oh, maybe these are metaphors. Maybe these parables are like stories, like bedtime stories, where you can learn insights about yourself and the human condition and how it evolves through time. These are some of the reasons why discernment is very important, because you can have a deep non-dual experience and you can still run a cult. You can still be all about money. You can still be all about sex. You can be all about power and status and still have a genuine, deep, authentic non-dual experience. You can even be in the presence of someone that has a non-dual awareness, and you can feel that non-dualness. And even though that's genuine, they could still be coercing people, intimidating people, manipulating people. You could feel that experience of oneness, and then they could start talking about their car or their bunch of cars and how that's so meaningful. I even heard stories in communes that there's a lot of abuse that happens in those. And you would think, well, if you have a non-dual experience and you're one with everything, then you must have you must radiate acceptance and love. And if one is everything, then wouldn't you treat everyone like you would treat yourself? And that's not always the case. Another thing too is the stuff I'm talking about, it's not going to be widely accepted by most people. Most people are just trying to get through their day, trying to get a paycheck, trying to get a relationship, trying to get something from the external world. And on my channel, I'm just trying to pay off debt. I'm trying to advance myself in a way. But I also realize it's all a game. But it's a game I'm taking serious. You look at me and you might see a person that's half black, half white, 34. When I'm not too caught up in my story of who I think I am, I'm just awareness looking at you, seeing myself looking back at me. And from this channel, I'm talking from a teal turquoise perspective. So I'm using logic and I'm integrating that with intuition and blending the two together. And one of the things with being in teal is you have a tendency to be intellectually superior. You feel like you're intellectually superior. You can use that as a defense mechanism. You can use that as a way to hide your insecurities. You can even use your insecurities and your weaknesses as a way to show people and be proud of that you have weaknesses and you're finally able to feel comfortable enough sharing them. And that's what I do on this channel sometimes. And the reason why I share that too is so you can be aware that I'm up here talking about non-duality and integrating being and doing. And I'm telling you, look at me objectively. Because I'm not 100% in non-duality all the time. I still have an ego. I still have moments where I want to be right. I still want this YouTube channel to take off. I still have wants, needs, desires, responsibilities. If I was in that non-dual state 100% of the time, and I just said, this is all that matters, then I wouldn't make YouTube. I would just, for me personally, I just go into a cave and just meditate till I die. It's a weird paradox of being in the world but not of it. It's like I go around in life and a part of me looks at it, observes myself, observes me getting defensive and angry and all these different emotions and using my intellect as a way to feel superior. And I observe myself. There's a part of me that observes all that going on. I'm watching myself in third person. And sometimes I just think it's kind of cute. I think it's kind of adorable that I'm trying to make meaning in a world that's inherently meaningless. And there's also times too where I get trapped in my story of who I think I am. Oh, I'm a YouTuber who makes content that is very niche and not many channels talk about it. Even though relatively that's true. in the absolute sense, it's still another story, just like a story of I need to make a lot of money and I need to have success, or a story of I need to follow my true religion, or a story of I'm a human being, or a story of I'm 34, or I'm 86, or I'm 52, or I'm half black, half white, or that I live in America, or that I live in India. These are all stories. In the relative domain of life, we need stories to be able to communicate with other people. But in our deepest sense, we're just the awareness looking at it all. And when you get into Teal, you realize that it's the first time you realize this internal dialogue going on. So if you're watching this video, there may be a lot of defenses that come up in you that arise within you that you feel like is you 100%, which is this person's not making any sense. This person seems out there. What does this person mean that there's something beyond this who I think I am? Does this person think that he's God and everyone else is not God? How does this person think that he can put himself on a pedestal? Those are some of the thoughts and the emotions of fear and anger and sadness and confusion that you'll feel if you're not aware of what I'm pointing towards. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just what is. And even me saying I'm Teal is just like me telling a story of I'm 34. Or I make a YouTube channel that talks about things that most people haven't heard before. They're all stories. I have a story on here that says that I'm terrible in front of the camera, or I'm a master in front of the camera. I got $38,000 worth of debt. I'm not doing anything about it, or I'm doing something about it. I feel worthless. I feel like the best. I want to be accepted. I don't need to have acceptance. These are all stories we tell ourselves. When I first started my channel about 3 months ago, I had a deep story within myself, which was I have to present myself as a mature, capable, linear thinking, rational human being to convey these concepts of non-duality. Or else people are going to click off. They're not going to watch my video all the way through. That was a deep story that I told myself. When the truth is, it was just a story. And I don't have responsibility and the power to have people not click off. I mean, yes, there's psychological manipulation ways and there's proven techniques of like cuts and storytelling and all this stuff. But in the deepest sense, people are going to do what they're going to do. I'm not always going to like what people do. I'm not always going to like what I do. And I realize within myself, the more that I'm okay with that, the more peaceful life seems. And this is where all like discernment comes in. Is like, all this stuff I'm saying can sound amazing. Oh, if I drop my story, my life's going to be beautiful. Oh, yes and no. It depends on how you drop your story. It depends on how you disidentify with it. If you disidentify with it and say, oh, it's just all a story, I don't have to worry about the debt. I don't have to worry about going to work. I don't have to worry about loving my family. I mean, yes, that's true. You don't have to. But how much chaos is that going to cause? How much stress is that going to cause within you and within them? And then Another story might come up as well. If I'm doing this and I realize that that's going to cause stress if I don't care about these things, and I realize it's all a story, then if I actually do the opposite and I actually try to love people, try to love my family, try to go to work, try to pay off debt, try to do these responsibilities, does that mean I'm faking it because I'm trying to do it? Maybe. No. So in the beginning it can feel uncomfortable, like inauthentic, like, oh, I'm faking this. But in reality, what's happening is you're becoming more conscious of it. You're becoming more conscious of your patterns. I mean, that may not be the story you want to hear, but would you rather do something consciously or unconsciously? Now, of course, while you're doing it, you can feel like a fraud. Like, but I mean, what else are you going to do? If when you get to the point where you realize every single thing that you think is a story, what are you going to do with that paradox? And it may sound like I'm saying this lightly, of like, it's just a paradox, but it's easy. It's all flowing and everything like that. It's great. No, it's tough at times, depending on how much you're holding on to it. And you're also thinking in a way and behaving in a way and have a goal or a awareness that you see within yourself that most of society in the world doesn't want to see or isn't able to understand. And they're going to want to understand you and to want to feel like they're connected with you. They're going to want to pull you down, not because they're bad people, not because they have malicious intent. Most often it's because they want to feel comfortable. And so when they pull you down, it's oftentimes not out of like a feeling of this person's too high, I want to pull them down and I want them to be on my level. They're not the one doing it. It's their identity with who they think they are that's doing it. And this doesn't excuse violence or racism or sexism or any type of abuse. It doesn't excuse it. It just helps you better understand where a person is coming from. And then life and laws and justice and all that stuff, in a way, takes care of itself. But if you don't understand why someone does what they do, then it can make life even more difficult. I mean, for example, me, I'm half black and half white. I've been called the N-word many times. I grew up in a town that was very small. There wasn't a lot of diversity. I was one of the few people that looked like me that a person saw in my school. So I got different questions. I got awkward questions. I dealt with that. And there was moments where I was frustrated and I thought, this is ridiculous. Why do I have to deal with this? But it happened so much I started to become curious on why do they think that way? What is it about life that's made them think that way? Does it have something to do with the systems of social media, society, family upbringing, culture? Like, what causes it? And when I started to become more comfortable and more, not even so much more comfortable, but more understanding on where they're coming from and why they have the thoughts and beliefs that they have, I began to accept them more and care about them more and be more compassionate towards them. It doesn't mean that I'll hang out with them on a weekend, but it does mean if I'm in their presence, I'm going to be more compassionate, more understanding. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it. Do I think it helps the grand world, the global world, for racism and sexism and all this stuff to go on? No. But you have to look at it realistically. You can't just deconstruct all these systems and say if everyone just loves each other, then everything will be okay. Because you also have to look at it deeper of like, we have systems of law and order and justice and healthcare and social systems and of how to communicate, cultural expectations, body language, biological systems of different urges and different desires, and how those are either suppressed or tamed by social expectations. We have all these things going on. So it's more complex than saying if everyone just loved each other, then everyone will be okay and everything will be great. Because that's not true. Not in the absolute sense. The absolute sense is you have to understand that, yes, it takes love in everybody, but it also takes understanding why we are where we are. And that starts with you. That starts with me. And that's me saying that is one of the things that is probably confusing to a lot of people. Because you're expecting me to say, well, it's all, if we all have love and everyone does meditation and yoga and gets connected with their inner self, then the world's going to be amazing. And everyone will be flowing and there'll be empathy and compassion. You're either expecting me to say that, or on the other extreme, for me to say, well, we need to have all this logic and rationality, and we have to dismiss all the love and all the feelings, and we just have to be productive, and people have to pick up by their bootstraps and just get stuff done. And anything in between. You may think that I should stand where I say, no, religion is the most important thing and we should have it in our schools. That should be the ultimate concern, is religion. Our religion, that has a foundation for the rules and the orders and the laws. We need that. And I'm not saying any of those are 100% true. What I'm saying is they're all important. And that statement there is why my videos probably won't get a lot of views. Because even though it's true, it's deeply true, and it's a partial truth among other truths, many people are not ready to hear that. Many people don't want to hear that. And I'd even go as far as to say many people don't need to hear that. And even that might be like, whoa, what do you mean they don't need to hear that? You just said that's very important. Yes, it is important. But if you're not there, if it doesn't help your life, it's not important for you, for your situation in this moment, in this time. Maybe you need to make a lot of money. Maybe you need to feel like you're the best, to be on top, to have the status, the cars, the sexual conquests. Maybe you need to have that. Maybe you need to have your religion. Maybe you need to feel like it's the only true one. Maybe you need to have meditation and yoga and feel like everybody should have that. Maybe you need to point the finger at people and tell them, you need to meditate more, you need to do yoga more. Maybe you need that. And why do I say maybe you need that? Because if that's what you're doing right now, and you don't want to stop doing it, it doesn't matter what anyone says. It doesn't matter what I say. And there's different environments and different situations and different contexts in the world where I'd want someone that really identifies with their religion, if they can do it in a healthy way in context to that, to help people to build a community. I'd want someone that's very into business and personal growth and to achieve, if they do it in a healthy way. I'd want someone to be deep into meditation, yoga, hold retreats, if they do it in a healthy way. More healthy than unhealthy for all those examples. Because you can think of it as an important thing that religion has. And I don't consider myself religious. I don't consider myself scientific. I don't consider myself spiritual. I consider myself a mixture of all those. But anyway, with religion, it builds order. It builds structure. It builds discipline. It builds duty. In its healthy forms. And the unhealthy forms, it builds shame and guilt and black and white thinking, rigid thinking. With business and trying to get ahead in achievement and status symbols, there's healthy aspects of that. Innovation. For me to even have this phone, make this video, post it on YouTube to give people a different perspective, innovation did that. People that were very identified with achievement, very identified with status, they made that possible. Now there's unhealthy aspects of it too. It puts a damage on the environment. It makes people that achieve and make this stuff possible very stressed oftentimes, which causes stress to communities and other people and also to the individual themselves. And with people that are really deep into meditation and yoga and inner child work and going through trauma and therapy and talking about their emotions and sensitivity, that's positive. That's healthy. It's healthy for people to get in touch with themselves, understand if there's any trauma that's getting in the way of their life. It's important to hear different perspectives from different people. It's important to have civil rights. It's important to have all those. Now, there's unhealthy aspects too. If a person just has too much political correctness and doesn't want to hear people out that they disagree with, like people that are racist, homophobic, sexist. If you don't want to at least hear them out, then in a way, energetically, you're doing the same thing as people that are making innovations and polluting the planet. You're polluting the energetic field. Or if you're really into the inner work, that you feel like you're better than other people, that you as a human being are better. So you moralize and say, oh, you're not as awake as me. You're beneath me. Those are some unhealthy aspects. And even me making this channel, there's healthy and unhealthy aspects within myself and within the very design of making this channel. Some of the healthy aspects is I'm given a different perspective. I'm giving people information and synthesizing different points of view to make it relatable and digestible and palpable to you, the viewer. And I'm also showing how I'm integrating this stuff and how it is possible to be in debt, be in an entry-level job, and have a non-dual experience and have this perspective. That I'm not in the mountains, and I'm not saying I'm not out of touch with the everyday struggles and friction. Now, some unhealthy aspects. Sometimes I use my own insecurities and weaknesses and stuff as a way to show, like, look at me, and I'm like an explainer of humanity. Look at how I can understand myself so well and show you so you can better understand yourself. There's superiority there. Even the fact of me calling myself out in this video to you, in a way, is an act of superiority. That's a way of my ego trying to orient itself in the world. Another unhealthy aspect of this channel is giving people information that they might not be ready for. Because let's say you're watching my video or you see my short, a short of mine, and you're just scrolling through or you're just looking at different videos, and all of a sudden you come across my video and I say something that's like, some part of you feels like, oh, this is true. Oh, I can't believe that this is like, I found this information or this channel. This is great. And then you start to listen to me and it ruins your life for a year, a couple months, a year, a decade, because you weren't ready for it. That can be an unhealthy aspect. So how this all ties into discernment is that even myself, even though I have a level of self-awareness that you may not have seen or encountered before, I have a perspective that may seem unique that you haven't experienced before or isn't as common, I still have my own stuff. I still have healthy and unhealthy aspects. And that polarity of healthy and unhealthy and navigating between the two, that doesn't change. Even Eckhart Tolle has said that he has those. Alan Watts, Ram Dass. No matter how enlightened other people perceive you as, or how intellectual others perceive you as, or how intellectual or enlightened you perceive yourself as, you're still a human being. You still have flaws. You still have blind spots. I still have those too. And that's why discernment is so important. No matter who you talk to, no matter who you listen to, no matter who you give your advice, get your advice from, it's important to discern. It's the most important thing. So that may make you feel like there's no resolve. You might be expecting a resolve in this video. And the resolve is you have to find out for yourself, depending on your situation, your environment, your triggers, your perspective, your life experiences, what the resolve is for you. Because I just gave you a bunch of paradoxes. And you naturally want to resolve them, to fix them, to have one side over the other of the paradox. But how do you, to put it into context, how do you know that you're short or you're tall? Because you look at someone else and they're either taller than you or shorter than you. Most people might be either taller than you or shorter than you or about the same height as you. And so you put as part of your identity, I'm just really short, or I'm really tall. I'm about an average height. That's the same thing with paradox. You need to have both. You need to hold both to be able to orient yourself in the world. And it's easy, it's simple, but it's more simple than it is easy. It's simple because it's just simple. You just accept the paradox. The reason why it's not easy and why I'm changing it from being easy to not easy is because you're also dealing with the influences of different systems, social systems, education systems, healthcare systems, justice systems. All those are influencing you to pick one of the sides of the polarity. And that's a tension. That paradox is a tension you have to learn to live with and to be comfortable with, because the more comfortable you are in that paradox, the more peaceful your life is going to be, and the more clarity you're going to have in your life. But yeah, this is all the reasons why it's important for discernment. And please leave a comment down below on what you thought about the video. And yeah, hit the like button if you like it. Subscribe if you want to learn more information. And take care.